Hi, church family. I'm Pastor Janine Smith, and I have with us Sega Worku, the director of our counseling center. Thank you for coming, Sega.
You're welcome, Janine. Thank you for having me.
Great. I wanted people to get a chance to meet you and hear more about our counseling center and what it has to offer, both for them and for people that they care for, and to begin praying for the counseling center here at Lake. So, Sega, before we start, how did you come to Lake?
Wow, that's a very good question. I was 19 years old. I grew up in Ethiopia, in Africa, East Africa. And when I was 19, I came to Pasadena because my sister used to live here. And she lived right here on Oakland Avenue, North Oakland Avenue, a few blocks from Lake. So I remember a couple of weeks I got here, I went for a big walk, and it was 1986, just when the new sanctuary was finished being built. It was very intimidating, way too big of a church. So that was my first time seeing the church. But eventually we moved to Duarte to go to school at Citrus College. But then we kept coming back to Pasadena because of different reasons. And we've been coming to, with my siblings, to Lake off and on for over 30 years now. But later on, it's when I joined Fuller Seminary in 1994 is when I started coming really regularly and became a member a few years later. And then I've been there ever since. I got married there and raising my two daughters there. So it is my extended family.
That's so awesome. And how long have you been working as the director of our counseling center?
Sure. So I've been on staff for the past almost 9 years. Before that, I volunteered in the counseling ministry for about 5 years. So on staff, it's been about 9 years now.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So if someone were going to go to our counseling center or reach out for some assistance, what types of reasons would they reach out to you guys?
Yeah. So usually, people don't seek counseling in a very happy days. It's usually because they're going through some kind of difficulty. Either they feel stuck or there's something in their life that's not going well. So the reason why we have counseling ministry at Lake, it's not because we want to be a clinic or that's our main focus. We're still a church, but you always have, so when people call us for whatever reason, and if we know that they have resources, they have access to other mental health services, we try to help them connect with already existing community services. But we always have people who come in, either they cannot afford to go to other places, they may not have an insurance, or they just don't feel comfortable going to counseling outside of the church. So those are the people that we end up seeing. And the typical reasons could be anxiety, depression, marital problems, parenting issues. So mostly it's relationship kind of related difficulties. Those are the main issues that people come to us. Sometimes it's dealing with a family member that has mental illness, and they just need that space to come together and to come with another neutral person to help them process their situation so they can be more strengthened in how they provide care for that family member.
That makes a lot of sense. So, and you guys have counseling right now. People can see a counselor through Zoom. Is that right?
Yeah. So it has been one of those very interesting discoveries because of the COVID-19. We cannot meet with people individually, but we already have most of our documentation and stuff online. So it was an easy transition for us to go into telehealth, which is teletherapy. So we see all our clients right now online through Zoom, or actually we have another app. It's called Theranest, and it's very confidential. It's only for therapy. So that's the program that we use. Yeah.
Nice. And you're seeing children, teens, adults, and you guys also have support groups?
Yes. So probably the youngest kid we've seen is maybe a 4 or 5 year old kid from our school there when we used to have the Lake Avenue school, and all the way in the 90s. So we have a huge range of people who come for counseling, but definitely youth, couples, and also young adults. We do have groups. We offer different groups. We have either grief groups, anger management, and also forgiveness groups. And these groups are probably about 3 to 6, 7 people in a group, and they're led by 2 counselors. So it's really a well-run. It's a very group therapy, group processing is very helpful because what it does is, in a way, it kind of normalizes some of the stages that you're going through, while you're having also space to express your thoughts, feelings, in a very safe and confidential place. Yeah.
Nice. And I'm thinking, why do people hold back? Why are they hesitant to go to counseling? And one of the reasons I've been thinking about is maybe they're just wondering, what does God think about counseling? Should I just pray more? And what's the church's response to that? Say again.
Yeah. So sometimes it's really a misunderstanding of what counseling is. So people see counseling, especially the professional counseling, they make it kind of compared it to a pastoral counseling. And it's really not. It's very different in a sense, because when you come to therapy, it's not for somebody to tell you what to do about your life. It's really about creating a safe space so you can look at your own life in a clean way and see what is holding you from, what are your blind spots sometimes, or some of the things that you're not really aware of, so that you can make a decision on the direction that you want to go. Counseling, we're not content experts. We're not here like a pastor to tell you what the Bible says and you should do this, don't do this. It's more process experts. So we help you process through the stage of life that you're in, and then kind of give you directions. But really, you're working hard. It's like having a trainer. When you go to work out, maybe your trainer may show you a couple of things, but really you're doing the work. You have to go on and really figure out what works for you. So therapy is more in that way. Think of it in that way more than somebody telling you how to live life. So I think that's one of the reasons people are hesitant to come to therapy. The other one is, if you've never been in therapy, it's kind of intimidating, because you just don't even know what it feels like to sit in front of a stranger and start sharing your life with them. But people who've been in counseling are more likely to quickly seek help when they're faced with some difficult situation. So sometimes it's just the unknown, not knowing what it's like. Sometimes it could also be negative experiences. Maybe some people have gone to therapy before and something just didn't go well, so they just close the whole door. And people need to know that they have options. It's like any other professional service you get. You have to work a little bit hard to find a good match, a good fit. Then it's really amazing how God can use that sacred space where you are completely being vulnerable, open, and see the different parts of your life and find this breakthrough, which is not just helping you to resolve that issue, but actually open up doors to deal with many other stuff in life. So yeah, there could be many reasons. Yeah. And of course, financial is another big one, because it is very expensive when you go out to some places. So really, when you go to therapy, you're just not paying for that hour work. It's really more an investment for the future. But at Lake, one of the things that we do is we have a very low sliding scale fee based on the person's income and their family members. So we don't want finances to be a burden for somebody seeking help. But like everything else, people also need to value what they're getting. So they seem to work a little bit harder when there's some kind of payment in there. But we have a very low sliding scale that we charge.
That's excellent. I want you to talk about, before we close, restoration therapy. I've heard such good things about it, and I know we're doing it. So tell me more.
Yeah, sure. So restoration therapy is one of the therapeutic modalities that they teach out of Fuller. Terry Hargrave is one of the professors who came up with that theory. It's very biblical in terms of, it talks about putting on the new self, taking off the old self, putting on the new self. To do that, you need to know what is that old self, how does it function? And usually that has to do with pain. So when we are in pain, we react in a certain way, and then it starts showing up in different parts of our life. So really what it does is it helps you map your pain cycle. So it's basically, when I feel this, this is what I do. And when I do this, this is how people respond to me. And it's just so automatic that we're not even aware of it. And then we have our peace cycle, where when I'm in a good place, when I feel safe, then this is who I am, and this is how people react to me. So how do we do that? The Romans 2 verse, where be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So how do we renew our mind? First, I have to know what the old self does, and then move to the new self. And actually, I have interviewed Dr. Hargrave last week. So maybe we'll also have that video available so people can even understand it more. But it's really about, and he talks about it as it's a discipleship model in a way, because it's helping us progress in that direction. So it fits really well. And that's why we really use it at Lake, because it's very biblical. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing with us, Sega, about the counseling ministry that you're leading. And I really want to encourage you, church family. When I was in my 20s, I went to counseling. I was going through a time of loss, and I didn't have my regular support system to back me up. And right now I'm thinking in 2020, almost all of us sort of fit into that category. And so I want to encourage you to, if you think that counseling would benefit you, to reach out. We're going to put the phone number here and the website that you can go to. And also keep your ears perked. If those in your small groups, your ministries, your family is struggling, your neighbors, they do not need to go to Lake. In fact, Sega, most of our clients actually are from the community oftentimes, right?
Most of them are. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
They don't need to go to Lake to come to our counseling center. So keep that in mind and refer out, encourage people to come. So thank you, church family. Bless you.
Bye-bye.